Right, we are live. Hey guys, how's it going? Welcome back to the Kiwi Lads channel. We are back for another game of the URC, the Lions taking on Munster. Now, this game is crucial for these two sides. Munster find themselves recently getting demoted down one place. That is due to the Bulls getting themselves the victory over the Ospreys, whereas for the Lions, they are currently sitting around that relegation-ish zone in terms of the top 8. Now, of course, there are 11 sides that currently have a very good chance of making it through to the next stage of the competition, being the quarterfinals in the early stages of June. The Lions are one of them, but they have to make sure that they get a big victory here or maybe one or two down the line as well. But looking through at the Lions starting lineup, it is going to be Nore in the front row alongside Vasahi as well as Ruandrea slotting in as the number 3, Willem Alberts and Del Pot, as the number 5, JC Pretorius, the starting 6, Emmanuel Tichuca and Frankie Horn. The loose forward trio that last week in their game up against Leinster did extremely well. You can understand why they have been given the nod again. Morne Vandenberg will be starting at 9 with Nohamba as the 10, Marius Lowe and Kronya in the midfield with Erwin van der Merwe. Then it will be Richard Creel out on the right wing. We've just seen his brother David have an incredible game for the Bulls. And then Jordan Hendrickse actually going to be the starting number 15. That is rather than Juan Horn, who's been left out of the starting side. Then on the other side of things, it is Jeremy Luckman, Niall Scannell, and Stephen Archer, Ardis Neyman and Tyke Byrne. A fantastic front 5 for Munster. And at this contest, Peter O'Mahony will be starting in as 6 with Kendallin and Jack O'Donoghue. Then Connor Murray and Jack Crowley as the 9-10. Sean O'Brien in the midfield alongside Antoine Fish. Then Shane Daly, Calvin Nash, and Simon Zebo. This is a very strong lineup for Munster. I feel like that is something that the Lions definitely don't want to underestimate. A much stronger team than Leinster were last week. And of course, Munster getting themselves the win over the Bulls in last week's stage of the URC. But looking through, like I mentioned about those previous results, first of all for the Lions, what they have done in their last 2 games, they had that big win over Leinster, 44 points to the 12. Before that, they were knocked out of the European Challenge Cup, 27 points to 17. That was on the early April 7th. Now, for Munster, they were knocked out of the European Champions Cup on the 7th of April. Not a very lucky day for these two sides, but April 21st was a lucky day for Munster. They were able to get themselves the win over the South African side in the Bulls. Of course, they are neck and neck with in terms of that 3rd and 4th place at the moment. We have to wait and see whether or not there is a few more changes late in this URC competition for the standings. But we are only a minute or two. Who's on top? Says Kerr there. Do you know what the sad thing is, Kerr? Because of how quickly between these two streams that there were, my one still is Leinster, but I do know that Glasgow are at the top of the bunch at the moment. I hope you are keeping well, mate. It's great to see you once again. And, I mean, Glasgow, fantastic performance throughout the URC. We'll get the updated table. Glasgow on 58 points. Leinster in second on 54. Currently, they are sitting 12 wins, the most of any side throughout the URC competition for the Glasgow Warriors. And as I predict, the Bulls won by 30-plus points. So here's Morne Lagrange. Yeah, brilliant performance from the Bulls. Not so great from the Ospreys, and they really did make the most of it. Yeah, it's going to be interesting to see how they go in the coming weeks. Of course, Glasgow's next game going to be up against the Vodacom Bulls in 2 weeks' time. Should be a fantastic game. See those two teams go head-to-head, but they are just about to make their way onto the field, these two sides, ladies and gentlemen. I hope they are anyway, or else then that next game that is very close, we'll see how it goes. As long as Leinster don't get a bonus point win, Glasgow should stay top. Says good, and to be honest, up against the Stormers, they shouldn't, but it's just very hard to tell. Of course, the Stormers in some losing form at the moment, not playing the way that they like to in the past. But yeah, Glasgow at the moment, like in terms of their overall roundedness of the way that they played, they are looking like real contenders. And if they've got that home field advantage for their matches, I feel like that's just going to be that next little bit of oomph that they need. Question, Kerr. I don't know where you'll be in the world, right? But if Glasgow make it to the final and it's a Glasgow home game, are you going to try and go to it? If it's a possibility, or is it actually better if it's a different location with your travel? Whereabouts are you at the moment in the world? Do let me know. Now making their way onto the field, Munster Rugby captain Tyke Byrne for this matchup. Big opportunity for him and his side. Jordan Hendricks are just about to lead out this Lions side. It is going to be his 50th game. And Coffee Made ready to listen to Mr. Hamish, says Brian. And there as well. But it's going to be an exciting one, like I said. And another game just straight after between the Stormers and Leinster, which will determine a lot in terms of where the overall top 8 are sitting. A few other games of the URC taking place at similar times to these ones. I believe there was also another game kicking off at 3. And in fact, the other game's kicking off at 7. That is between Dragons and Connacht. And then I think that is the only other game that is yet to take place. Glasgow recently getting themselves a win over Zebre, 40 points to 9. Very good performance. Yet again, this match will be much closer. Fear I say the Lions by 10 points, says Mornay Lagrange. Right now I'm in Orlando, Florida. Heading to San Francisco next week, then home end of May. Possibly miss the final unless I can make last minute changes to my schedule, says Kerr. So you're still travelling then, by the sounds of it. You're making plenty of miles around the world. Hopefully everything's been going smooth in the cruise ship world. Still got my hat sitting proudly on my desk. Or actually, no, sorry, not my desk, but like my bedside table in my room. I am not quite a captain in some regards, but yeah, I like the little ship too. It's actually set up in my room as well. Very nice model. It was a mission to get it off that ship, of course, but once we did, it was all well and good. Now, huddles have been done. The Lions looking fired up for this game. Same with Munster, of course. This is an important game, like I've said like 15 times, which I will keep on saying as well, because we are at the crunch end of the URC competition. It is do or die for these teams. Definitely for the Lions. Either way, I believe Munster will be inside of the top 8. But for the Lions here, any wins that they can get from now help make their percentages go up that little bit further in terms of whether or not they will make it through to the next stages. People thinking they are more important than me, says Kurt. Yeah, I think that guy had the reality check afterwards that, oh, whoops, maybe he shouldn't have said that to someone who literally does a lot on the bottom levels of the ships. But that's going to be kicked off by Munster. I've been looking at a few cruise ships since then. I feel like I got that bug that you talked about. Not a bad bug, but like, you know, the cruise ship bug of wanting to go on another one. So I've been looking at them. I learned that someone in the other cricket teams going to the Caribbean on a cruise. But I asked whether or not it was through the same one as yourself, and it wasn't. So we had to stop talking to him. No, that wasn't true. But yeah, lovely cruise ship was. On the halfway line at the moment, Munster with Connor Murray going away to the left-hand side. Stephen Archer in position. It looks like Murray's going to go for a box kick of his own here. What's he doing? Okay, I thought he was about to kick that through the legs of Jack O'Donoghue, but he was just trying to get that ball rolled back a little bit more so it was more accessible. Running onto that nicely was Jordan Hendricks. And the opportunity to play at number 15 for this contest. Nahamba goes back across to Marius Lowe. Great step coming there from Richard Crowley. Seen how his brother played in the last contest and now knows that he really has to step up here, or else will be the less superior Creel for the weekend. Nahamba, I need to check when I'm back in New Zealand, says Kerr. Yeah, it's just like, it's very relaxing on a cruise ship. I learned, like when I got off it, I was like, that was just like, it's not what you expect, if that makes sense. Which you've probably heard a lot being on a cruise ship so much. It's going to be kicked up high from Mone Vandenberg. Waiting for this one to come down. It's close to the touchline. Well, Vandenberg almost able to keep it in, but the touch judge has his flag up. I believe it was kicked out on the full. Or was it? I think they're saying that it just bounced in the field of play. Yeah, well, Vandenberg disappointed with himself not being able to regather that ball the way that he needed to. 2 minutes into the contest, which the scoreboard does not realise. Hang on. Boom. There we go. Has now updated itself. Maybe. Oh, it's going glitchy, so we'll move that. There we go. Now Niall Scannell about to throw this ball in. Nicely taken by Peter O'Mahony. Actually taken behind Jack O'Donoghue. There's going to be a lot of physicality between these two sides. Can't remember the last time Kerr was in the chat. It's probably the travelling that Kerr's busy. Yeah, I think it's been a good few months, I believe. At least a couple months, if I'm correct, Kerr. Maybe even closer to 3 or 4. It was this year, though, that we've seen him last. Maybe closer to 2 to 3 months since we've seen Kerr. 3 minutes into the contest. Another penalty going the way of Munster. This will be from about 45 out on the angle. Crowley would maybe back himself to have the distance. Yeah, it does look like he is going to be lining up this kick now. Try and add his extra points on the board early, and that is due to the mistake of the Lions. Just entry through the side of the breakdown for Ruandre. A bit of a lazy attempt to get in there. Yeah, I've been buried in work non-stop for a couple of months, says Kerr. But yeah, hopefully you are still keeping relatively well and you're getting your steps in. Getting around the ship, staying healthy. How's Scotland doing the under-20 Six Nations? I feel like that's either going to be an offensive thing to ask or it's going to be like a nice reminder that they did well. I can't remember who won it. I think it was either Ireland or France, but did Scotland get decent in the under-20 Six Nations too? I think they got a win in the Women's Six Nations. In fact, they're playing at the moment up against Ireland 12-12 as the way that it currently sits. Scotland's sitting in third for the Women's Six Nations. That kick has just snuck over. That's going to make the score for Munster 3-0. Haha, no. Did they do poorly? One moment, I'm going to have to Google this, aren't I? Under 20. I'm so worried they finished in like last or second last now. Under 20 Six Nations Championship. It's not good. That's 0 from 5, actually. We won't talk about that no more. Jordan Hendrickse kicking this one off. Simon Zebo taking it inside of the 22. JC Pretorius, the man who drags him down. Now Conor Murray waiting for this one to roll back for him. Be able to once again send it up to the sky. Last week, we did see South African sides struggle to get themselves victories in the URC. 1 from 4. The only side to win was the Lions up against Leinster. Other than that, though, everyone else did suffer defeats. This is one of those rounds, though, that we've already seen 2 wins from 2 for South African sides. The Sharks winning up against the Scarlets. And then the other side of things, of course, was that recent game, the Bulls getting themselves the victory over the Ospreys. Line out thrown now for Jaco Visagie. I believe for the last game they had PJ Botha starting as the number 2. Marius Lowe, great flat run from him. Almost knocked it on the ground. The Lions going to start to put a few phases together. Now, they started the last match up against Leinster absolutely tremendously. They scored within the first 90 seconds. They then went on and continued scoring early. Oh, that looked like not a lot of arms in that tackle attempt from Calvin Nash. I like that the Lions must win, but I think Munster will be just too good for them. Says Alfie Vesa. And that's the thing, this Munster side are in form as well. Like, they haven't exactly been playing badly in their home or away games. Marius Lowe trying to go through again. So far, Munster's defence have been holding up quite well, not allowing the Lions to play the game like they did last week. Another low tackle made this time from Alex Kendallin. Left-hand side for the Lions. Nahamba goes across to Marius Lowe. Interception pass was almost on, and the awkward bounce means the ball goes into touch. And it will now be another line out here for Munster. But yeah, Women's Six Nations, they're going all right, Kerr. For Scotland, you know, they're in third. That's decent. As long as they stay there. That's the thing. Up against Ireland, though, I feel like it's quite a tough game for them there. A moment, we will go like this. And we will go like that. There we go. I'm hoping that... No, it's still glitching a bit. It didn't actually do it for the last game, but when I put my mouse over the scoreboard now, for this game, it seems to start freezing and stopping. But Rolly Maul attempting here for Munster, 45 metres out from the Lions line. Bit of an alliteration there. Now short ball from Kendallin. That's going to be another penalty. The ill discipline at the moment from the Lions. This looks like JC Pretorius this time has gone in off his feet. Another penalty goes against the home side. An opportunity for the Lions to add an extra 3 points if they want it. Go the Lions, there's pubs of South Africa there. Looks like the decision this time is once again to go for the 3 points. May not be the most popular one for the crowd, but it is the most effective at this stage of the contest. Rather than getting aggressive and going for the corner, just taking those threes when the opportunity is there. I'll tell you what, he wasn't a mile off there, JC Pretorius, for getting that turnover. The only thing I can think is maybe his hand went down first, is why he's been penalised for that. Because other than that, it actually looked all right. But this one's going to be right on the edge of Crowley's range. About 47 metres out. He normally finds them safe at 45. But once you get ahead of that 45 mark in terms of distance, that is when the range starts to suffer a little bit. Maybe in South Africa, though, it might be a little bit easier for him. Got 10 seconds to take this kick now. 5, 4, 3, and he takes it now. And tell you what, he's got a good piece of that, Jack Crowley. That is now going to make the score 6 points to 0 in favour of Munster. And these all add up. Another penalty now would give them more than a try's worth of points on the board. 9 minutes in. Lions are really yet to get a lot of the possession, but as soon as they do, that is normally when it starts to get a little bit more dangerous for the opposition that they have been facing. Munster want that third place back, though. Recently, the Bulls, after their win up against the Ospreys, were able to take it from them. Munster want it straight back. And if Munster come out of South Africa with 2 wins from 2, they are the only side now that have the capabilities of doing so, seeing as the Ospreys did lose. Like 2 wins from 2 in South Africa up against the Lions and the Stormers, they will be more than happy with that. Of course, next game for Munster as well, for anyone who is wondering where they do head to from here. They will be playing at home up against Connacht. That is in 2 weeks' time. And then the Lions, their next game will also be at home, but that is up against Cardiff in 14 days' time. Really getting behind the Lions for this match. Both of these sides, like I mentioned, being knocked out of the Challenge and Champions Cup. So they will not have a match next week, but the Champions Cup and Challenge Cup semi-finals are happening just around the corner. We will be covering them on the channel as well. Jack O'Donoghue, good driving tackle made on that man. Connor Murray puts it back into the pocket to Crowley. Goes for the kick. He's got a good chunk of that one too. Gets it down towards the halfway line. Though we'll be about on that 40-metre line now that the line out does go the way of the Lions. Jaco Visagie needs this one straight. That's the thing. The same backline last week that was causing so many troubles for Leinster just doesn't seem like it's quite started firing as of yet throughout this first 10 minutes. It's just that little bit stronger in defence here, Munster, not allowing those line breaks to occur as frequently. JC Pretorius takes it off the back of the line out. Now off to Marius Lowe. I think maybe asking for the turnover, and they have got it there, but it's knocked on from RG Snyman. He did all the hard work of getting that ball back for Munster, just to drop it only moments later. He's frustrated there, though. Just goes straight into the breakdown. Got the turnover, and then it was actually Morné Vandenberg who got his hand on it. Neyman got a big smile on his face now, but we are going to get to see these scrums in action now. About to find out the pack weights. Lions normally pack a little bit of a punch when it comes to their replacements. Hang on, we got to stop it here. What's this? I think it's once again the TMO is having a little bit of trouble with its communication, so it does mean that they have to get a bit more of a fix. We've got a donation from Kurt as well. Look at that. Beautiful shit. But thank you very much, Kurt. Greatly appreciated. It says super sticker, but of course we can see what it is outside of the streaming software, which of course is the hippo on the gaming chair. Fun fact, Kurt. That gaming chair is probably about to get some very good use. I've currently got it out in the studio where we have been using it, but my mum, the office has recently been renovated and she doesn't have a good chair in there. She's only got like a little computer one. So I'm thinking about letting her use that one in the office. So she will be able to, wait, I was about to say she will be able to be like that hippo, but that kind of sounds bad when you're talking about your mum, but only in regards of being able to spin around on a chair that looks like a gaming chair, is what I meant to say. It just didn't quite come out that way. We've got a stoppage at the moment due to that referee telecommunications playing up a little bit, which also means that the players do get to have a bit of a drinks break here as well. Simon's still smiling, or at least it looks like he's smiling, but maybe he's not. This is one of those interesting stoppages as well, because you can't really help it. At the end of the day, if the ref can't hear his officials on the sidelines, it does make it very difficult. But at the same time, it means that the players all kind of cool down. They don't quite have that same momentum that they may have had. And this might actually be a very important stoppage in this match for the Lions. They get a bit of a breather. They get to regather, regroup, and work out what is next. The pack weight's 900 almost kgs for Munster, 4 away from it with 896, whereas for the Lions, they are sitting at 847. So there's RG Wright for playing for the opposition. Says Stefan in there as well. It's gone down in the front row there. Ball's going to be available off the back again. Morne Vandenberg going for the kick, and he's just booted it out on the full. That is definitely not what he wanted in that scenario. Let's now give another line out for Munster around that 40-metre line. But early errors from both of these sides. Bit of pressure coming into this game as we build towards those URC quarterfinals. Of course, Munster, the defending champions. They want to be there again. There's a lot of pressure to back up. Definitely with Leinster in great form currently. Glasgow sitting top of the bunch on the table and having a really, really good crack of making it far in the comp. And that's not just because Kerr's here. But now Conor Murray getting ready to roll this one back and go for the box kick. On high. A bit of an awkward swirling one, and it's actually going to be knocked back by Munster, but there is the penalty in play for the Lions. Offside, I believe that is. Might be up against RG Snyman again here. There's two in quick succession that he has given away. Now the Lions on the halfway line. I feel like this would be a kickable 3 if they really want it. The question is, do they? Or do they want to go for the corner? We've got a 20-pound super sticker now from Kerr as well. I assume once again it is, yep, it's the hippo with the victory one. Of course, that is referring to Glasgow. Yeah, they're looking very good. How do you think they'll go in South Africa, Kerr? They've got their game up against the Bulls. I believe the week after that, they are playing... Who do they play? I think they play another South African side. Yeah, the Lions. And then their last round, they play at home up against Zebre. So that should be a nice game to close out before the playoff games. But how do you think they'll go up against the Bulls and the Lions in South Africa? We're going to be covering both of those games on the channel, of course. Now the Lions 10 metres out from the line, looking for this rolling maul. Another advantage in their favour. Around the side of the breakdown, still available there for Morne Vandenberg and his Lions side. And W. Kerr says bystander. Manuel Tachuka, this is actually his first carry of the match. It's taken 13 minutes, and they've got themselves another penalty there, the Lions. And the turnover was fine. It was just the advantage for the original penalty. And if they keep discipline and keep penalty count down, they should take the win from all the remaining games, says Kerr. Yeah, I think their biggest challenge will definitely be that Bulls one. Definitely because of the way we just saw the Bulls play. But like you mentioned, discipline's so key because we saw in that game that Ospreys kept on giving away silly penalties. And defensively, I'd say that Glasgow have a massive advantage over the Ospreys as well. Like if they're making 90+% of their tackles, it's going to be a good game. It's happening at midnight New Zealand time, I learned as well. A little bit of an earlier contest. Now looking for the rolling maul again. Now the Lions. I think the Bulls will beat Munster at Loftus, says Stephen Worley. Although last week those two sides played at Loftus and they actually were defeated, the Bulls, by Munster. 27 points to 22, I believe it was in the end. Looks like we've got another stoppage and a double blow of the whistle this may be someone going to the bin, or at least someone getting a very stern warning that the next time that they do it, they will be sent from the field. Oh, okay. So Tyke Byrne has just said that they would like to join from the back, but they've got to get the Lions more square on. And get on the scoreboard, dudes. Says Stefan, they're getting very close because they're only 5 metres out from the line. And it looks like once again, they are going to be kicking this one towards the touchline, Nohamba. So put it into touch. It's going to be about 5 metres out from the line, but that is 2 in a row. This one against Stephen Archer, if they give away any more penalties like that, they're going to end up playing with only 14 men on the field, and that can be a real challenge early on in the matchup. Bayako Visachi throwing it in, well taken by Del Pont. Now around the side again, 3 metres out from the try line. Here come the Lions. Morne Vandenberg gives it away to Emmanuel Dechuka. Thought about reaching out, but couldn't quite get there. Munster players down all over the place, but they've managed to get the turnover. Someone amongst the madness was able to get that ball in their hands. Almost charged down for Jack Crowley, but he does get a good clearing kick downfield. Relieves some of the pressure, but there is still plenty coming from the Lions in the early stages of the match. Tell you what, Munster are relentless on defence. I think that the Lions are going to learn that. That was something that the Bulls also learnt last week, is they don't often miss those tackles. I'm actually going to have a quick little look as well. What happened when Glasgow played Munster? Hopefully that's not another one that's a trauma game. But let's go versus Munster. I just want to know in terms of the score. I feel like it would have been a low-scoring contest because both sides have great defence. Munster Connacht, Munster Leinster. Man, that was a low-scoring game. I remember that one. 9 points to 3 in that Munster versus Leinster contest. Oh, it's 40 points to 29. That was on my birthday, that one. I should have remembered that game. That's high scoring. Why'd that happen that way? Hello from Ireland, Patrick O'Brien here. How you doing, lads? Says Patrick. Doing very well, mate. Hope you are also. Keep them well. Munster have got themselves the ball now on their own 22. And Glasgow beat Leinster by more. Says Q there. Now we're going to have to look, aren't we? Glasgow, they beat Ulster. They beat Benetton. Where was their Leinster game? Did I miss it? Glasgow, yeah, 43 points to 25 in that first round, which was quite a statement win for Glasgow. A kick downfield. Hi, everyone. Says 1 through DMS. Welcome in. And crack. Says Steve. Nohamba. Looking to put it towards the touchline. Was it out on the full? No. Fantastic kick from him. From inside of his 22. I mean, kick it goal. Says Stefan there. Well, that's the thing. The Lions turned down probably 6 points worth of penalties throughout the first 17 minutes. And that can help in some regards if you score the tries. But if you don't, you find yourselves slowly chasing the game, and then the frustration starts to kick in, that doubt starts to kick in. Munster, they have taken their 3-pointers when they're available, and because of it, they are 6-0 up. Another throw for Niles Scannell here. It's going to be nicely claimed by R.G. Snyman. Jack Crowley, short pop pass up. You must take your points at the start of the game. It also builds confidence. Rugby 101, in my opinion. And yeah, like they were easy enough kicks for the Lions, but I guess they probably got a bit of try line fever from last game up against Leinster. Like when you score 40 points in a game, it makes you want to keep on scoring tries, and you know, every time you get the chance, you want to go for the 7, but sometimes you do just need to take that step back and say, okay, we'll take some points. We've got another donation from Kerr. That is now the third. That is £50 in total, Kerr. You are extremely generous. And Glasgow Canes to be winners this year. No comments about the Brumbies required. Yeah, that was a weird game, wasn't it? Funny enough, though, Glasgow and Canes, if they win, I've got both of their kits, and that is due to one man sending them to me. And he's just donated almost enough to buy another kit. So your generosity is just unmatched, Kerr, and it is greatly appreciated. I mean, it was just nice to see your name back, and now you've gone and thrown the money at us as well. And that's what Munster did. Well, Munster are doing it again. They've won another penalty from about 47 metres out, and they've said, yes, we'll take on the 3, thank you. And Lions make bad decisions, makes you lose close games. So there's 1, 2, 3 MS. Crowley, 51 metres out. This one is his longest, but he's actually been striking them very well. That 47 metres kick earlier on had an extra maybe 5 or 10 metres on it than it needed, so you would think that this one would sail over, but sometimes it's that little bit more distance that then gets into your head and causes those little errors. Nah, he's got that real good. Jack Crowley just having the distance, and that is going to make the score now 9-0 for Munster in this contest. Just like that, you take your 3 points when they are there, and you end up in that scenario of now sitting where they are, that lead of the 9 points. And the win predictor actually has them as 68% as the likeliness. What type of work do you do? And work on cruise ships. And some pretty big cruise ships at that. You can see that picture there is one of them that he has worked on. Like, to be fair, like when you look at that picture, right, it just doesn't look like a real cruise ship, but it is. They are that big. Buoyancy. I don't get how it works, to be honest. Like when we were on the ship and I was looking at it, and you were saying all the weights, and I was like, how does that float? Like, I don't understand. But I'm sure someone with a lot more skill than myself was able to design it well. Jack Crowley. It's that one into touch again. Already the first 20 minutes gone in this contest, currently sitting 9-0 in favour of Munster. They will look to just continue building up those points when they become available, because there will be times. The ill discipline of the Lions when they're inside of their own half has been costing them here. There might even be a chance we don't see a try throughout this first half. I hope not. And how are the Lions going? They've had a couple crucial errors, including that one. We've just seen another knock on from the Lions, which gives the ball back to Munster. Now Kendallin goes to Crowley on the outside. Advantage is over. Simon Zebo, playing 15 for this match, gets driven very close to that fast touch line. Connor Murray. Back across, a name of Cruise Lineker. Shot in the dark, but no Ross Pataiki. Hopefully I said that correctly. And I used to work on commercial ships, not cruise ships. Now a marine pilot. See Brian there. Connor Murray, back to RG Snayman. Crowley goes to Burn. Look for the offload, but he's given it straight to Emmanuel Tachuka. Munster pass Rugby 101. They have no empathy with the Lions. That is a great kick in behind though. Looking for the 50-22. The ball is just going to roll into the in-goal area. And it now becomes the goal line dropout. 22 minutes gone in this contest. Nice lead forming for Munster. The Lions, they have shown some good attacking intent, and they've only been one little error away from being able to score themselves their first try. Now, as the table currently sits, Munster would take their spot back in 3rd. The Lions would be in 10th on the overall standings, and that is due to the fact that they have less wins on the board than the sides that are above them, and that is something that could hurt them in the long run in the comp. Of course, it is first of all how many wins you have, and then points differential. But before both of those, of course, is points. So you want a few of those. South Africa teams relies too much on their forwards instead of total rugby, including the backs, more in the game. I take the small win, says 1, 2, 3 MS. Yeah, sometimes when you win that penalty, you've just got to accept that. It's a nice, easy 3 points, and it can help you, even if it's like taking 3 points every once in a while shouldn't be looked at as a negative mindset. Sometimes it's just about building scoreboard pressure and just getting that naught away from next to your name so that you start to build into the contest. Nice run from Emmanuel Tachuka. Gets that offload up to Morgan Nore. Large ships are all about displacement and surface areas as well as depth of hole. Nice intercept there for Munster. They haven't gotten Nankerville in this contest, instead Sean O'Brien starting at inside centre. Burn going off to Crowley, tries the cross kick. He looked like he got a lot of that one, but just stays in the field of play for Calvin Nash, who went for the chip of mine. He's been taken out, and Emmanuel Tachuka passes it now to Nohamba, who will look for the touchline. Depth of hole, if I'm correct, says Clinton. Yeah, it's quite fascinating when you think about it, like the way that ships actually work. Same with aeroplanes, like the idea of a plane, right? when you really, like, think about it. The idea of something taking off, staying in the air, and then landing exactly where you want it to. Like, you call an Uber and they're 40 minutes late, yet somehow a plane takes off and lands. Same with ships. Like, that thing floats, even though it weighs much more than me, and I don't float. I don't float very well anyway. I seem to sink. I don't know why. I feel like I need some more air in me so that I can be buoyant. These are the type of chats we have at 3:30 a.m, ladies and gentlemen. Now Munster have got themselves another line out, rolling maul opening up. They're about 30 metres out from the line at the moment. Connor Murray. Looks like they are going to use it. Goes off to the left-hand side. Thanks for the commentary. Says Ratzema, no worries at all. Simon Zebo now trying to spin out of that challenge. Murray won himself the penalty advantage, and that'll be another easy 3 points for Munster if they want it. That would take them up to 12, but it looks like Murray's going to have a bit of a sniping run. JC Pretorius went over the ball, got the turnover, so they will go back for the penalty yet again. And point exactly what are the chances that Lions are feeling dejected at this point? Yeah, because you're going to throw everything at the opposition and then, hang on, clear neck roll. Who's that against? I think it's actually going to be against one of the Lions players. Fascinating how a plane can be in the air at their size. Physics incredible, says Bystander. Yeah, like when you consider how much a plane weighs, same with the boat. Like, and they just do what they do. It's just quite cool, isn't it? Like, even this live streaming, like, you guys are all around the world, yet you can hear what I'm saying, you can see me live, well, close to live, and I'm talking about a game of rugby that is also happening live in a different country. Technology. They're just showing the neck roll here. I'm not sure where it was. I think I missed it that time. Can you quickly go through the Lions lineup? Says Cats now. I can do you one better. I can show you the Lions lineup. But it is Norre. Oh, it's actually a neck roll from Niall Scannell there, I believe, that they are looking at. Fasaki and Reyes, the front row. Alberts and Delport, the locking duo. Then JC Pretorius, Emmanuel Tichuca, and Frankie Horn. And the loose forward trio. Mone van den Berg and Nohamba. Van der Merwe, Marius Lowe, Kronya, Kriel, and also Jaden Hendrickse as the lineup. But it looks like they are going back for foul play. They did check the neck roll. I like the way that Marius Lowe talks to the referee. Shows him a lot of respect, and I feel like that actually goes a long way because he wanted him to check it, and they checked it, and they saw it. And I'm on an AI. Times have really changed. Says Goes Through, bro. Yeah, AI is weird, isn't it, when you think about it? Like how far technology's come. Like you can now like type to AI on your phone and it will just chill with you and like talk back without it being a real person. Crazy. Jaden Hendrickse, in fact, sorry, Jordan Hendrickse, I should say, rather than Jaden. We're kicking that ball into touch, and he's got a fair amount of distance. Niall Scannell will be disappointed with that one, as like it was actually after they had gone back for the original penalty that he did end up doing it and getting his penalty for his side reversed. Now the Lions, 25 minutes in, another attacking chance. How close are they to getting on the board here? In his time now, Jaco Visagie goes to the back, well taken by the Lions. Now, trying to roll forward with Visagie at the back. Morne van den Berg goes off to the left-hand side. Here comes Marius Lowe in the midfield. Dunky, the commentator, is good. Says Ritzema, thank you very much, mate. Usually appreciate it. Should I say Dunky as well? Now a little rubber in behind from Nohamba. Sits up nicely for Kriel. I was describing birds and fish. Well, even animals in some regards. Like some of them are a bit weird, aren't they? Marius Lowe looking for the cross kick. Chasing out of this. JC Pretorius hasn't taken it cleanly. And they'll go back. Oh, this might be an injury here for Shane Daly. I think he was crunched on his way down by one of the Lions forwards. And this does not look good. This looks like some sort of knee injury here for him. And rugby is beautiful, Says Zimmer. AI is bad in jail. Says Dr. Pooh. AI is bad in jail. What do you mean? Like using AI in jail? Or like, does AI get you in jail? Is that what you're saying, maybe? That's going to be the penalty going for Munster, but I think the biggest concern here will be Shane Daly being down at the moment. Of course, Munster want to get themselves a big victory here. Do you remember when we had the Cats? What type of cats we talking? Oh. Okay, Jordan Hendrickse. Oh, anal intercourse. Ah, yeah, that's a bit different to the AI I was thinking of. Yeah, Jordan Hendrickse trying to get maybe an extra 10 metres ahead of where he was supposed to be kicking from. Happiness is having a rugby ball in hand, messing about and punting it is pure beauty. Says bystander, but Jordan Hendrickse straight down the middle, and that is now going to be the first 3 points on the board for the Lions. Will that possibly be the start of many to score on Super Rugby team and Super 12? Ah, yes, the Cats. Sorry, I got very confused about what you meant by the Cats. But, yeah, I mean, Super Rugby, it's been talked about. Maybe we'll see something different. Now, I'm going to ask a question, ladies and gentlemen, because it was actually brought up last week, and I thought it was a really good idea, and I want to know your opinion. So, would you guys be keen, theoretically, if World Rugby were to look at something along the lines of, you know how both competitions in Super Rugby and the URC have a top 8 that play in the quarterfinals? 4 of those sides miss out. Would you be keen on the idea of the 4 quarterfinal losers of Super Rugby going head-to-head with the 4 quarterfinal losers of the URC in some sort of mixed competition? Now, I don't think it will happen, but would that be something that if it was to happen, you guys would be like, yeah, I want to watch that to see how it goes with the 2 different competitions colliding? Join our Rugby channel when the chat is about physics. Obviously not a Bulls game. Says Gareth there. Someone got angry at me on the Bulls live stream, Gareth, because Amelia said that she donated blood, and we kind of said that's good. Hopefully you're doing all right afterwards. And the guy pretty much said, I don't come here for health chat. I'm leaving. Goodbye. Well, he pretty much got angry after I clarified that it was only a short topic. But yeah, he was not happy. So hopefully he was happy with the Bulls winning. In the end, yeah, why not? Yes, I will watch that, says Pixie Dust. If possible, would be fantastic. Because theoretically, like both sides or both competitions, right, you've got teams available because if they had won, they would have been playing in the semis and the quarters, right? So, maybe one day could be an idea. That's going to be chipped in behind from the Lions. Beautifully done. Waiting for the bounce of the ball. It's missed everyone except for Shane Daly, who has been right place, right time. If one of the Lions' chances made a try, I will be praising them. Margins are small in top sports, but South African teams are too predictable, too easy to counter-attack. Says 123 MS. Next time you fly, you'll think of Hamish. Says bystander. No, probably don't think about what I said about how is this actually flying. It shouldn't be able to, because or else you might panic while you're on the plane. And that wouldn't be good. Now, Conor Murray back across to Jack Crowley. And that one downfield. Just taken in the field of play by Nohamba. Now running for, Jordan Hendrickse losing his footing. Out to the left again. A Royal Caribbean. No, sorry, don't know him. Says Kerr. That's going to be kicked in behind. And chance for the 50-22. His foot was on the line, I thought. But the referee says it's still in play. And it is now going to be the line out for the Lions again. 30 minutes into this contest, we are yet to see a try. It's been close. It's been gritty and grindy. I'm not sure what will be achieved. Bottom 4 against bottom 4, says Stefan. Well, not quite bottom 4, right? Like, instead of bottom 4, it would be the 4 losers of the quarterfinals. So it would still be ranks 5 to 8 in the competition, theoretically. So, like, you wouldn't get to see the top sides go head-to-head, unless, of course, they got knocked out. But at the same time, you'd still get to see a little bit of a preview of a Club World Cup like that has been rumoured. And, as long as you did it, I don't know, whether you do, maybe 1 week, like 2 sides go somewhere and the other 2 sides like get a home game or something like that. I feel like it would be quite cool to see. So we should say head commentator is good, and that'd be quality side, says Cool Story Bro. Should make for interesting rugby just to see the levels of the games in different competitions. Exactly right. And there's also the downside, which could be most sides switch off after getting knocked out of their main competition. Injuries as well. Oh, I'm very blurry. Yeah, you don't want to risk too many injuries, but at the same time, like, I think the players, some of them would be keen to see how they match up with other ones. My idea, I think it will grow the game and increase the money in the game, and as well grow the game in smaller towns. Says 123 MS. And also South Africans are so predictable, we win World Cups. Says Ritzema. Right, it's actually going to be Munster's ball here. As that ball has... Wait. If that ball's bounced on the line, is that not a 50-22? I thought they checked. Wouldn't that have been a 50-22? Okay, so they said that Nohamba actually kicked it from inside of the half, or it was taken back, which is why it is going to be a Munster line out. They have claimed it at the front nicely. Now Jack Crowley going to kick this one towards the touchline RK. He works on cruise liners with Art Gallery. I can't think of the name now. Says a bystander there as well. Again, another line out for the Lions. It seems to be rinse and repeat at the moment. We see Lions move into the 22 of the Munster side. Munster get the turnover, kick it downfield. Park West, says Kerr. Yeah, at the moment, there's just a rinse and repeat. Hopefully someone can break the chain soon. Another mistake made by the Lions. I was about to say that's something else that happens in the chain. Yeah, that's it. Says bystander. There you go. 56 possession for the Lions, 61% territory throughout this game. So they're actually heavily advantaged in both stats. As South African, it is constructive criticism. Says 123 MS. Yeah, I think the Lions, like, to go into halftime with currently the deficit of 6, I don't think they'll be hugely disappointed, but they'll also still have, you know, a bit of disappointment around because of the mistakes that they have made throughout this game. And our clubs have never really taken off in South Africa. It's an issue. Also to do with our talent going overseas, though, says Cool Story Bro. And it does make it difficult when a lot of the top players do find themselves getting enticed into big contract deals. And you can understand why they take them as well. Like, at the end of the day, your rugby career is only so long. And while you are playing and you're playing well, you've got to make the most of, I guess, financial opportunities. Now going back across to the right-hand side, Munster. Going to be going off to Simon Zebo. Good low tackle made there. Another knock on from Marius Lowe. So we're going back for another penalty. So many stoppages throughout the last 5 minutes. We're probably only at about a minute worth of play, with everything going to either scrum or line out. We'll get there. Malami essential would appreciate dudes on the PA system to shut up. Can hardly hear the commentating and the ref at times. Is that the one who's constantly going, Lions? And then everyone in the crowd are just like, no, we don't want to. Like, I've heard him a lot through my ears as well. He's very keen to get going and trying to rack up the crowd. But, yeah, at the same time, it is quite loud as well. Jack Crowley, that's going to be a great kick downfield, trying to keep it in the field of play for the Lions, but this will be about 5 metres out. In fact, 10 metres out from the line here. Yeah, another good scrum. It was already very angled in that front row for both of the sides. It's always going to be a hard scrum to be able to keep up. At least keep everyone level and low. I'll scan another throw for him here. This is one of those moments that if Munster can score a try now, or at least get themselves another 3-pointer, help them build that lead just a little bit more. But this is a fantastic rolling maul here for Munster. Lions trying to defend it. It's going to be tricky to do. The ball's gone over the line. And Munster will get themselves the try. Just waiting for the player to pop up. I think it was Niall Scannell who ends up with it, but we're about to see it. No, it's Jack O'Donoghue who comes up with the try to his name. Now Munster have a nice 14 points to 3 lead. We got a bit of a let's go Munster, let's go chant ringing around the Emirates Airline Park at the moment. Some really strong work from the Munster side at rolling maul time. Emmanuel Techuka, he was trying his best to defend it, but unfortunately there was a situation there where he found himself up against maybe about 3 men by himself. And just the physicality of this Munster forward pack get them over the line. Jack O'Donoghue, the man who scores it. Jack Crowley currently sitting 3 from 3, and the other Currie Cup teams need international competition to grow money in South Africa to compete against the rich countries. So here's 1, 2, 3 MS. And yeah, it's a tricky one for the Currie Cup, isn't it? Because it has really seemed like it's taken a back foot in recent times, because like they stopped showing it here in New Zealand last year, I believe it was. And while they were showing it, that seemed to be when the competition was really, I guess, thriving, and it was one that people were watching. You know, we were seeing upsets. You know, the Requas, the Cheetahs, the Pumas all playing very good rugby. But then as soon as we go into the URC, that competition just completely gets pretty much drowned out, and no one really outside of South Africa get to experience it. And I feel like that's a little bit unfortunate that that is the way that it ends up working out. Like, we'll quickly look. Like, it's going to be taking place between July and September, and I'm very curious to see if it actually gets shown here in New Zealand. Sorry, Hamish was sorting supper. He got angry because they aren't allowed to donate blood, genetic defects and all. Is that right? That way it was. Well, I thought that maybe it was something to do with the fact that maybe he didn't like talking about blood. I thought that that might be something for him. But yeah, it was pretty much just like, you know, you talked about something other than rugby for 30 seconds. I will go elsewhere. Thank you. Goodbye. So I don't know whether we'll see him back or not. And Lions can wave any hopes of miracles goodbye. Says Stefan, I don't know. Like, if they score now, and tell you what, Jordan Hendricks breaking through the defensive line. Low tackle made by Crowley, chopping him out at the kneecaps. And Willem Albert's now running it forward again. Now we have got there. Good to be back, Hamish. Says Charles, can't wait for the Stormers game. Great commentating as always. Thank you very much, mate. Greatly appreciated you being here. That's another knock on from the Lions, but they're going back for the penalty. And now there's a decision to be made. Do they take the 3 to be down by 10, or do they go for the corner and try and close this gap a little bit by half-time? Great coverage, or good coverage, Hamish. Chloe wants to know, when you come into South Africa, remember the World Cup marriage proposal from her is still on. Says world champs twice. Yeah, although we never found out how old Chloe was, which was a bit of a concern. Because, you know, I don't want to get married to a child, do I? That's quite a statement, isn't it? And Lions can wave any hopes and miracles goodbye, and hopefully the Stormers play as a team tonight and not just for the cameras. Says Justin. Albert's going to be 40 in a few weeks. Says, cool story, bro. Now Jordan Hendricks, so they are going to take on the 3 points here again. Thought the light was on outside. I was confused. But nope. Now Jordan Hendricks lines up this kick and does get it over. Now we're going to make the score 16 points to 6 in favour of Munster, but they close that gap just a little bit more. There we go. 2 minutes remaining in this first half, and what has been a relatively even contest between the two sides of these one team. I think can turn a game into 10 minutes. It's the Lions, not over yet. Says Gareth. But yeah, like, that's the thing. Like, 10 points isn't enough, I don't believe, for Munster to win this game. Not at this point, anyway. Maybe if we only had 5 minutes to go, it might be enough. But for now, the Lions are still well and truly in this contest. And I feel like Munster know that, which is why they will look to be a little bit more aggressive, perhaps, near the end of this first half. Try and pile on that pressure A little bit more, but the kick has gone into touch. Munster thought about taking it quickly, but they decide against it in the end. Will now be the line out on the halfway line. And Prime Alberts was terrifying, says Justin. Well, that's the thing. He's been around for so long, so we've kind of seen the phases of his career. And like even at 40 years old, the amount of experience and the amount of, I guess, stability that he adds to this Lions line-out is really, really handy. We often see it that the older locks are the ones who can control a game for their side when it comes to the set piece. Nice run across field from Calvin Nash. 30 seconds remaining. Great turnover there. I believe that was JC Pretorius. No, in fact, it was the man out on the wing, Richard Crowley, who managed to get himself the turnover. That was going to be for not releasing the ball against Calvin Nash. Humber again will look for the corner. The Lions can bring it back to being 13-16 down at halftime if they can find a try in the closing seconds of this first half. Just hearing that halftime siren. Clean out was a little bit late and gave Richard Creel enough time to be able to lock himself over the ball. And once he was locked in, there was just no moving that man. They are getting ready to throw this one in yet again there. Morne Vandenberg goes across to Nohamba with the short ball to JC Pretorius. The ball's been knocked on though. Now Munster looking for the counter-attack. Calvin Nash tackled high. Could end up being the penalty advantage. And they do end up getting it for a different reason. Actually, players leaving their feet in the breakdown. Danny Russo as well. A beast of a human, says Justin. Tell you what, that is quite an impressive mustache for Jaco Versace. Sure, at some stage you'll end up shaving it off, but for now it is still there. What are they deciding now, Munster? Do they want to tap this ball, or do they want to continue playing? It looks like they want to continue playing for a little bit longer here. Nice kick from Simon Zebo. Get those few extra meters for Munster. And this shows straight away that they are willing to take that little bit of a risk here. Yeah, diving on the ball that emerged from the ruck. You have to stay on your feet in that scenario. Not allowed to dive on it until it's clear of the ruck. I believe it's by like 2 meters. And then you are allowed to jump on it. A ball available for RG Sneyman in the rolling mauler Munster. Looking a lot more set this time. The Lions in the defence of the maul. Not getting a huge amount of meters here, Munster. Although now it starts to move that little bit more. Connor Murray being told to use it once, so he goes off to the left-hand side. Crashing run again here from Sean O'Brien. Like I mentioned earlier on, in there rather than Alex Nangavel. He now was an absolute brickhouse. Craig Burden. Don't think he had any fat on him, says Gareth. Craig Burden. Don't think I know him too well. Name slightly rings a bell, but I don't know whether or not that's just because my dad's first name is Craig. And Pierre Spies. I was an absolute unit. Nicely grubbing him on from Simon Sebo, and then he might have been taken out by Marius Lowe. This is a yellow card offence maybe for Marius Lowe. Our Lions will come back next half or next year, says Steve Wally. Right, they're going to be checking this one. Did Marius Lowe just make a massive mistake? Simon Zebo was chasing after the ball. They were both contesting for it. Penalty try, says Gary. Yeah, it looks... Oh, that's a slide tackle from Nahamba. That's bad enough as it is. Yeah, then he trips him without the ball. This is probably going to be a yellow card. Do it, go on, says Kerr. Right, they're going up for the TMO check. This is during the first half as well. Okay, they've got a penalty for the player being taken out off the ball. Now they have to decide whether or not he would have got the try had it not been for the takeout. I think he would have scored that, Simon Zebo. So I think that Marius Lowe might find himself going to the bin for 10 minutes here. Red card, says Kerr. No, Humbers could have been, like the way he slide tackled him with his boots up. And we're going to see it here. The ball was loose. Simon Zebo kicks it forward. And from there, Nohamba, yeah, that looked like he was playing football. And then, unfortunately, Simon Zebo and Marius Lowe's legs were both in the same place. Kansas Chiefs are in Soweto. Says Steve, they're showing it from a different angle. Was there any cover whatsoever? I would argue no. I don't think Richard Creel would have been getting to him. Can't show the studs. Says Gus there. Yeah, that probably would have been almost a yellow card in football for it. As African clubs' inconsistencies are a recipe for heart disease. H, there's a UFO in the sky behind your head. I assume it's this one we are talking about. Yeah, just a little mark. Just stays there as well and just twinkles like a little star, eh? And when I'm there. Kind of moves around a little bit. Yellow card for Marius Lowe. And it's the penalty try for Munster. And that will now be half-time. 23 points to 6. The lead for Munster going into the second half. That could be an extremely crucial yellow card for Marius Lowe, the captain. I want to say there wasn't much ill intent in it. He just ended up running the exact same line and then realising out of desperation he tried to make that tackle on Simon Zebo. Fortunately, Zebo did not have the ball though, so he does get himself sent to the bin. But half-time, 23 points to 6. Another yawn kicking in. Of course, one more game after this one, ladies and gentlemen. Then a couple of my friends are coming around and we are all going to be having breakfast. So I think I'm going to be heavily sleep deprived for that breakfast, but that is okay. I think we're having pancakes, and pancakes are good. So that's ideal. Bystander, I'm having a laugh. Says Steve, and Spice was a unit. Well, Spice was a unit. I would have liked to see him play wing, says Justin. And there as well. But first half eventful. And I'll be honest, I feel like the Lions won't be too happy with how that first half has ended up going. They weren't clinical. They had a few opportunities from inside of their own, or like inside of Munster's 22, but they didn't cross the try line. I feel like that will really annoy them. I would prefer to see the Lions win for the sake of the table, but realistically, you can't see it happening, says Kerr. Yeah, they certainly had a lot more to gain from this game. Like, Munster would take their spot back ahead of the Bulls, but for the Lions, they would increase, like, just as the current table sits, right? If the Lions were to win this game from here, they would actually move up to 7th place. They would go from 11th to 7th, which would be quite the boost for not just their confidence, but also on the overall standings of the competition. Morena Hamish and all the Kiwi lads whānau, welcome in, Nas. If you are doing well, we've seen 2 tries from Munster throughout that first half, one for Jack O'Donoghue and one as the penalty try. Possession is 55% in favour of the Lions. They've had more clean breaks, they've had more defenders beaten, more offloads, more territory, and better tackling percentage, but they find themselves down 23 points to 6. That is why rugby can sometimes be a very strange game. And I feel like this game is certainly a prime example of just that. They've conceded 7 penalties in this game, Munster, whereas the Lions are actually the team with the yellow card, conceding the 6. And then that last yellow card of Marius Lowe, getting him in a little bit of trouble. Most meters made was by Eric Cronje throughout the first half. Most defenders beaten went to Jordan Hendrickse. And then the most tries, of course, the only man to score a try theoretically is Jack O'Donoghue for the try that he got about 20-something minutes in. We have there, whoa boy, was this dude Mahamba not highly rated? Nohamba, like, he's all right overall. Like, he's been having a decent season. He just hasn't really got anything going throughout this game, unfortunately, for Munster. And, you know, that's going to hurt them. Well, sorry, for the Lions, I should say, up against Munster. But, yeah, we'll have to wait and see. I feel like second half, maybe they'll make the early change for the Lions. Like, something needs to give, I think, and maybe just a little switch would help them in the long run. Like looking through at their bench, they have got Lombard, Stain, Sangweni, Fenta, Notango, also Nalabakanye, alongside Smith and PJ Aborta. Whereas Munster, they have still got Craig Casey, Joey Carberry, Haley Coombs, Jaeger, Wickerley. Like, they've got some very decent options off the bench. Oh, that lady's eating KFC, and now I kind of want something from KFC. But the next games for these two sides, ladies and gentlemen, they do not play next week, as that is reserved for the Champions and Challenge semi-finals. Whereas in this game, of course, the last URC round that we get to see until the 14 days' time, Lions versus Cardiff, Munster versus Connacht, both taking place at the exact same time. So we can't cover both of those games, but I believe the plan is to cover the Lions game up against Cardiff at 4:15 a.m. New Zealand time on the Sunday morning. That will be an evening game for you guys in South Africa. I believe a 6:15 p.m. kickoff for that contest. But we are getting closer, ladies and gentlemen, to the second half, and also we are getting closer to the next game that has taken place. It is going to be between the Stormers and Leinster. Does promise to be a fast-paced, action-packed game. Probably a little bit more even in some regards than this contest. Of course, the Stormers coming off some rough form. Leinster, their young side that they've sent to South Africa, are struggling. Our Lions have one thing to do, place JC Pretorius in the back line, says Katzenell. And also, it's always hard for me to pick between Moana Pacifica and the Drua. I'm being part Pacific Islander, but Drua at home. They're fantastic fangs I had to give, so happy for them. And also, we have got there. I'll be putting a steak on the braai during the Stormers game for supper, not trying to make you jealous. Trying to say I appreciate your commitment to what you are doing. Says Clinton. What, a steak sounds all right, to be fair. It's currently 4 a.m. in New Zealand, and I would still happily accept a steak if one was here. And most definitely says bystander. And I'm from South Africa, says bystander. Hoosh KFC don't start, looks at 2-minute noodles. Says Nazi Williams. Yeah, they are just showing that try of Jack O'Donoghue. It came off a rolling maul for this Munster side. And then alongside that, the later try was a penalty try, which did result in Marius Lowe getting sent to the bin for 10 minutes. And I believe about 9 minutes, maybe even the whole 10 of that yellow card is still going to be in play for the rest, or the first 10 of that second half. But seriously, La Rochelle 6th in the table. What has happened to them this year? It's a great question because, like, I honestly don't know. Like, they've still got a good squad, although they've lost a few players along the way. But when you look through at their team, they still have, like, a lot of potential. I think that the Champions Cup, they probably put most of their eggs in that basket. And then, unfortunately for them, their winning streak against Leinster did come to a close. So they've knocked Leinster out of the last 3 Champions Cup, whereas this time it was Leinster who managed to get that last laugh. So I wonder whether or not now maybe La Rochelle will make a bit of a late burst towards that top 4. But yeah, certainly not the La Rochelle of maybe last year or the year prior when they just seemed like they were unstoppable. And Nazi Williams says, great taste to those noodles. Gem of a meal can be had. Says bystander, where's the guitar, bro? Every halftime should be guitar time. Says Naz Williams, I actually don't have the guitar at the house at the moment. It is in storage out the road. So yeah, it was a shame because we actually had Isaac on the last live stream, but we couldn't get him on, or sorry, the live stream before that, but we couldn't have him play any guitar because there wasn't one inside of the house. I think Geordie B will change Leinster. I think they would change him. It's a good question. Like, I'd like to think he'd still be able to play the same type of game as he's been playing for the Hurricanes, but you just never know. Maybe they'll try and mould him into a little bit of a different player, of course, with so many gaps in the season in terms of Six Nations and also Champions, Challenge Cup, whatnot. More than likely Champions Cup, though, for Leinster. Like, we might see Geordie Barrett get quite a bit of game time in that midfield combo. I think they've made another big signing as well. I think it's RG Snyman, actually, who is going to be going to Leinster for next season. But, yeah, hopefully he does all right playing for them. And it doesn't affect his form too much for the ABs. Bystander, fair call, mate. Better than nothing, right? Says Naz Williams. He should have come to Glasgow for the win. Oh. So if he was at Glasgow, who's currently number 12? Is it McDowell, is it? At the moment playing 12 for Glasgow Kerr? Who's the more common 12 at the moment for Glasgow? I'm trying to think of who they normally put there. In fact, I can probably find out if I go here, go to match centre. I'll see who they put up against Zebra anyway. I think it was McDowell the last time I checked, or is he outside? He might be outside centre actually, now that I think about it. Glasgow in their game up against Zebra. Tell you what, Thompson had a lot of conversions in that game. And we also saw Stain, Dobie, Horn, Hiddleston lineups. Here we go. In the backs, it was, yeah, Stephen McDowell's actually on the outside. Oh, geez, Sione Tuipulotu. You don't really need him, do you? Have you got Sione in this inside centre? And Geordie is more in common with Glasgow playing style. That is true, I would say. Although, yeah, you probably have to play 13 if you're going to have Sione Tuipulotu on the inside. Dumb question because I'm dumb. How do you highlight another user's name to the comment? I believe it's to do with the @ symbol. I think you go @ and then you type their username and then it allows you to highlight them. Always good to have depth. Yeah, that is true. I guess it's the same for Leinster, isn't it? They've still got, Robbie Henshaw as a number 12, but they decided to sign him anyway. It's not what I was expecting. The Lions are really disappointing. Says Mono Lagrange. Yeah, they certainly haven't started this game in the way that they would have liked to, but second half, it's going to be tough. 17 points down is, like I said, a lot more that they've conceded testing. Says Anaz Williams there. See, Scott Gregory actually played for Zebra. I didn't realise he was there. Who else have they got in their lineup? Obviously, he didn't have much of an impact because they lost 40 points to 9 for Tuli Paya. Did they just raid the Highlanders? Who else have they got? Okay, I think that's all of the Highlanders players. But, yeah, they must have looked through at the Highlanders, said, yeah, we like them. We're going to grab a few of the players. There, why do you think the Lions, or why do I think the Lions are going to come back? I mean, we've seen them in the past have some pretty decent second half performances. First half up against Leinster, they were very strong, but then, that kind of last 20 minutes of that half, it went a bit quiet, and then they fired up near the end of the half as well. It's okay, the Lions are playing downhill next half, says Steve Worley. Didn't work, says Nas Williams. Brings up chat log of viewers, no space with the @ okay. So if you minus the space, I put Geordie at 10 for Glasgow. It'd be interesting. Glasgow are struggling at 10. So that would be rather than Ross Thompson, wouldn't it? Be interesting. Maybe Kerr, you could get 2 Barretts. Get Geordie and Bowden. But Bowden doesn't really play fly half too much now, does he? I was going to say you could go Bowden at 10 and then Geordie at 12 or 15 or something. That would be an interesting combo in that regard. I think they're going to be in the next game, Glasgow, in terms of the next rugby video game that is released. Maybe we're going to have to do like some sort of career mode as them. Try and build up Glasgow, even though they don't really need built too much. Like, they've already got a very good team. Looks like the Lions are back out there on the field, ready to go for this second half, ladies and gentlemen. Like I said, pretty much back-to-back games that we are going to be covering on the channel. Still didn't work, says Nas Williams. And there as well, how long is the contract for Geordie Barrett at Leinster? I think it's only 6 months. I think he's only going on a sabbatical, so it's pretty short. And he will still be eligible for the All Blacks, even though he is doing that. He's signed till about 2027 with the ABs. Munster making their way out of the tunnel. And a little bit of cheering for the Lions by the sounds of it, but also Munster seemed to have a little bit of support in South Africa, which is great to see for them. Simon Zebo, responsible for that penalty try that Munster were able to score at the end of the first half. It is not going to be an easy second half, though. So I feel like we're going to see a much more fired up Lions side, although they can't be too fired up. They have to keep that discipline. The Lions must catch up rugby, must play catch up rugby. I agree, it might be just too much for them. And I worked my by at and start typing the name with no space with at sign. Says bystander. And at bystander 2, I feel brainy now. Still didn't work. This is Nars Williams. Hang on, we'll have a quick look at what I can see. Yeah, no, it doesn't look like it did work, did it? Oh, it worked, my guy. Says bystander. It might depend on what you're like on as well in terms of what app. It's going to be kicked off by Jordan Hendrickse. Get us back underway for the second half and nicely claimed now by Jeremy Luckman. So Connor Murray going to be rolling this one back. Even the box play catch up. Says Stephen Worley. High by Connor Murray. Running after this one. He's showing some good pace there, Shane Daly, but he wasn't able to quite get his hands on it. In fact, he got one hand to it, but he knocked it on in the process. So it is back available now for the Lions with the knock-on advantage. After Kronya, the most running metres out of any player on the field for that first half. Now Vasaki finding the pot pass up again. It's good stuff at the moment from the Lions. They need plenty of possession, all goods. Too early in the morning to think. Just wondering if all the Southern Hemisphere players are making the difference. Quality of rugby of the Northern Hemisphere teams. Tell you what, we're going to have to come back to that because Frank Horn has just put that one in mind for Edward van der Merwe, who's looking to win the foot race, but just getting on it first was Calvin Nash. Looks like he might have taken a bit of a knock there in the process of being able to put that ball down. But I think that, like, in terms of the MLR, or not the MLR, or even, yeah, I guess you could say the MLR, you know, the Japanese League, French top 14, even the URC to a certain extent, we are seeing the Southern Hemisphere sides bring some more talent into those competitions and a different kind of talent as well, which is quite entertaining. And it won't show on your chat, but it does on theirs. Says Fleshin. Huh. Well, there you go. So Simon Zebo might actually have an injury now as well, only 90 seconds into the second half. It's like Nash has got a bit of a limp as well. It was a big yawn. Okay, so just giving a bit of a tap on the shoulder of Calvin Nash, saying, come on, mate, you've got to be all right here. We need you for a little bit longer before we can bring the players off the bench. They've got Mike Haley as an option. The water now going to be taken from the field. Ready for the goal line drop out here for Munster. Tell you what, he's got a bit of that down towards the halfway line, and Jornhub says bystander. That's early there, no worries, says Steve. Thank you, Fletcher, appreciate that, mate. Says Nars Williams in there as well. Nahamba goes back across to Jordan Hendrickse. Now, nice run from Richard Creel, breaks through Shane Daly's tackle attempt. Ball's out, still 17 points difference between these two sides. Morne Vandenberg goes across to Nahamba with the inside ball there from Jaco Vasaki. Moves up to 22 out. Nahamba again, another step. Nice bit of attacking play there. Across one more time, Nahamba. It just seems like they're not a mile off. Oh, that's another knock on. I was just about to say not a mile off from getting that next big opportunity here, the Lions, but they will go back for the initial penalty advantage. But it's going to be for offside. That's now 8 penalties, I believe, against Munster. The Lions are taking on the 3. Like, I don't know. In this scenario now, when you're down by 17, I get that it uses up some time of your yellow card, so that is probably something that they are thinking about. Amos, you're talking about onions last stream. With your mate made me crave for an Argentine delicacy, the Fugazzetta Relina, a cheese stuffed pizza with cooked onion. Sounds pretty decent. I'll be honest, after talking about all that food, it did make us very hungry afterwards. But then it was also midnight here in New Zealand, so it was a weird time to eat food. Hendrickson now. First chance in the second half. Now, strikes this ball, and he's missed. It's gone away to the right-hand side. And that'll be a frustrating one there for the Lions, as they did opt to go for the 3 rather than chasing the try, even though they are down by 17 points. How much is that going to cost them? Now Jack Crowley being told to use it, so we'll go with another 22 dropout. But that's an even bigger one than the last, and it's going to be almost put into touch. Yes, it is. Mistake made from Jordan Hendrickson. Now I believe it's good for rugby. It levels the playing field so anyone can win the World Cup instead of just the so-called top-tier teams. Here's Clinton. A kick. Getting it straight to the hands of Jordan Hendrickson. Strategic, like they said. And then just, takes it on the touchline. Timer's going to be back on now. One change being made. Just trying to work out who exactly it is. Made their way onto the field. That's going to be overthrown by Munster. It's actually Connor Murray off now for Craig Casey. Now Murray put in a massive shift in last week's contest. Hamish, we appreciate your passion for the Rugby Game Time Zone broadcasting. Must be a burn. Says bystander. It's pretty brutal at times. I feel like today in particular with the amount of streams, because of the having the fire going to try and keep a little bit warmer, I feel like that's also kind of half by cooked me. So yeah, she'll be right. Still got one more stream after this one, then we are having breakfast with the boys, which is a completely normal sentence. And then yeah, after that I'll get to sleep for maybe 5 hours, maybe 5 hours or so, which will be quite a nice rest. Then as we've been up at that stage, we would have been up for about 25 hours in a row. 46 minutes through. Another line out here. Another scrum for the Lions. Just a few too many handling errors at the moment early on. In fact, it might actually be the ball. Looking around. Where's the halfback? There he is, Craig Casey. It's actually a Munster scrum here. This one so far, 5 handling errors from the Lions compared to the 3 of Munster. The ball is about to be fed in. That is going to be the free kick going the way of Munster. A little bit too early there from the Lions. It's actually going to be one of the replacements. Oh no, that was actually Norde. We haven't actually mentioned him too much throughout the first 46 minutes. Still the yellow card in play for the Lions though. Down one man in the back line, no Marius Lowe. And last week, 3 hours sleep for a video shoot. You are committed, says Clinton. And I mean, next week's going to be even worse because we've got the sevens that takes place all throughout the night, all throughout the afternoon to the early evening, kind of late evening. Then we've got the the Champions Cup semi-finals and the Challenge Cup semi-finals. We've got Super Rugby. And there's also probably going to be about 5 or so videos for the sevens alongside that. That's normally something that takes a bit more of the time that I could be sleeping, but it's not as bad as it could have been because the Singapore Sevens, the latest game's at about 12:30 a.m. New Zealand time. So I should still manage a few hours of sleep. But for Saki, being taken off the field, that is for PJ Borta, Drea, making his way from the field for Nalabakanye. And also it looks like Jack O'Donoghue's day is done. And he's going to be replaced by Gavin Coombs. Not exactly a bad replacement to have if you're the Lions at this stage of the contest. Still 33 minutes remaining. I feel like the Lions definitely need to be the next team to score. If Munster score next, I would almost say it's over. Now Munster, they have got themselves in a good attacking position on the field. Hey, but I see the Stormers game is scheduled for 6:55 a.m. instead of p.m. Says Johan van der Merwe. One moment. We'll quickly check that. Might have got the timing slightly wrong. One moment. You're correct. One moment. I'll switch that up. Thank you very much for letting me know. That is my bad. There we go. We have fixed it. But thank you very much for the warning. I didn't even realise that we had the wrong time. Now, something's happened in the process. We have seen a try just being scored for Munster. Managed to get it in the corner, and that is now the second try that has come at that yellow card. This time, Shane Daly as the man who scored it. Listen to you first time from Panama 3 years ago. Are you getting so much better, Brew? Like a man, no problem, says Johan van der Merwe. So, of course, that next game is going to be a little bit sooner than the schedule said. But yeah, 35 or so minutes time. This game finishes in 31, probably closer to 35. So I think we're pretty much going straight from this live stream to the next one. And thanks for giving a lot for giving us commentary on all the important games, says Brian. And of course, I should mention, if you guys are keen on watching international rugby, the Under-20 Rugby Championship is starting on Thursday. And that is going to be the opening contest, 9 a.m. South African time, New Zealand versus South Africa. Springboks versus All Blacks, Under-20 Rugby Championship. That's going to be a good game. And we're going to be covering it on the channel, so be sure to keep an eye out for that one. We will be live. We will be keeping you informed about what is happening throughout that contest. And that's going to be an awesome experience because we're going to get to see the future Boks, this future All Blacks. And yeah, we'll get to have a bit of fun while doing it. Clock ticking down now. Got Crowley. Ooh, he hasn't struck that one well. That'll still keep the score at 28 points to 6. A 22-point lead now for Munster, and this makes me wonder whether or not now the Lions would look at this as maybe they've made a couple bad decisions, definitely because of the one that they decided to go for the 3 when they were already down by 17 points. Like, at best, you're 2 converted tries out of that game now. Like, you have to kick for the corner, and they're currently 22 down with only 30 minutes to go. South Africa and England always strong in those grades. So here's Naz Williams. Nicely taken by Munster here. Now looking to go off to the right-hand side. Craig Casey has been told to use it. Gets the offload up to Peter O'Mahony. Went to RG Snyman. Ball pops out the back. Craig Casey does put it up high. Not taken cleanly by Richard Creel. Knocked back by the Lions and Pale Boys, Pale Jim and Paul Ruiz. A great prospects coming through the ranks. Says bystander. Yeah, I think it's going to be an entertaining competition. I just wish it was a little bit longer. It's only 3 weeks. See, everyone in the Rugby Championship play each other once for the under-20s. That's going to be a rough take there. That was a slide tackle there from Shane Daly. We all know that vodka in the bottle, bro. Says Naz Williams. Nah, if it was vodka, I would be asleep by now. That is for sure. I'd be passed out on my desk. Peter O'Mahony. There again. Can't fool us. Says Naz Williams. Craig Casey. Another box kick here for Munster. And they can now look to just use up as much time as they can on the clock. There's no rush for them. They find themselves in the perfect box seat. Another Bakanye knocks it backwards, but they will go back for the initial knock on from Munster. It is now going to be the scrum feed for the Lions. Sorry, Lions, you're out shop next year, says Steve Wiley. Although they are still close to that top 8 at the moment, the Lions. It's going to be a big finish to the competition, though. They have got a game up against Glasgow. Most recent or the most close future game is actually up against Cardiff. That is in 2 weeks' time. And then I believe they still have one last game, maybe up against the South African side, if I'm correct, in the final round. Just scroll down, and they are going to be playing up against the Stormers for their last game. So that could be an interesting one if they get a couple wins up till that stage. I saw a clip of a grade 8 schoolboy in South Africa. Thought I have a penalty from about 65 metres. Impressive, says Brian. It sounds as though the Kiwi Lads needs an extra staff member or 2.5 hours sleep every 24 plus hours of work. Does your health no good, says the fun. Yeah, it's not great for the old health, but yeah. I'd feel worse trying to sleep for a couple hours, missing a game, I think, than I feel after doing a game, if that makes sense. But at some stage, we're going to try and adjust the sleep schedule. It's just, for now, I don't think I'm going to get that chance to. But yeah, hopefully in the future, we can try and work out some sort of sleeping schedule that gets us more than a couple hours on the weekends. 28 minutes remaining here, another scrum feed for Munster. Quite a few stoppages. When is New Zealand's first game? I know Argentina's playing against France in July. Is it also around then or earlier? It's around early July. I think it may even be late June, but they are playing in the USA up against Fiji in their first contest. Now thrown in by Craig Casey. Going to go to the right-hand side here. Kicked him behind from Crowley. Looking towards the touchline. Awkward bouncing ball for Richard Creel, but he just keeps it inside of the field of play. Munster putting pressure in the breakdown. They've been told to leave it. George will be the next extra staff option, right? Be a party. Says Naz Williams, although the only problem is George, in terms of his schedule, like he's probably only available for maybe one game a weekend, if that. Because like we were hoping to get him on for the one with me and Isaac, but unfortunately he just ended up being busy throughout that time, even though it was as a late night game here in New Zealand. But he's coming around tomorrow morning for some breakfast, or this morning, in about 4 hours' time. Nice run here from Nohamba. Finds open space, goes for the chip in behind, looking not just for the 50-22, but also to try and find the hands of Richard Creel. Well cleaned up by Simon Zebo, who just stays in the field of play after JC Pretorius is getting in there. They've been told to leave it. I was joking, my brother Wilgoods. Says Naz Williams, although we do actually need to get George on a stream sometime soon. We've been doing a few entertainment channel videos though. That is something we've been enjoying. Looking forward to more of the Fiji after the World Cup, says Robin Wood. Yeah, they were one of those sides that became a lot of people's second teams throughout that Rugby World Cup, mainly because like there was that game up against Wales that a lot of people felt they were extremely hard done by, and it kind of became the thing of people wanted to see Fiji do well, just to kind of stick it to that game, if that makes sense. Now 6 points on the board for the Lions. It's just not enough. They need to try and they need one soon. I believe they have got themselves now the line out on the Munster 22. A little bit of a chat there from the referee to both of the captains. See that Fente has made his way onto the field. That is for... Was that for Tachuka? I think it was. Okay, Doug Byrne was just asking about foul play. Referee says if there was clear foul play, it would have come through from the TMO. So it is now going to be play on. Jabota, the line out throw here for the Lions. Goes into the front. Almost stolen by Munster. In fact, if they got it, yes they do. Now Crowley. Kicking it downfield. The advantage is now over. And that is a very handy kick there from Jack Crowley. That ball kept on rolling, which meant Nohamba was unable to take that one quickly. And I just arrived well. I fully expected Munster to win this, but that score is very surprising. I take it Munster have a bonus point. At the moment, they actually don't. I believe that they are sitting with the 3 tries at this current point in time. So they would still need one more to get themselves that bonus point. But they are certainly hunting for it. They want to get ahead of the Bulls and they want to have a bit of a points differential above. Or a little bit of a point, I guess, above. Bulls side. Nicely taken. Well, Nalabakanya, the referee went down. That's actually the second game in a row that we're seeing a ref go down. And this looks like he's got some sort of injury to his leg. Zala dummy from Morne Vandenberg. Nohamba charging forward, goes back to Marius Lowe. The referee thought he was limping, but it looks like he's going to be able to continue this match just for now. Here comes Nalabakanye. Just throws himself at the line. Referee told them to leave. That will be the penalty. Okay, Hamish, thank you. There's O'Brien. Not supporting the body weight. Goes against Gavin Coombs there. Now, this may be the last warning for Munster. They've had a lot of penalties against them inside of the 22. Yeah, I think Archie Sneyman just went over and asked if he's allowed to wrap his ankle, and the referee said not quite. First of all, Lions, they look like they are going to be kicking this one for the corner yet again. This is where they need to turn it into some form of points. They'll still be down by 15. If they get themselves the converted try, a nice sniping run from Morne Vandenberg, and got that pop pass up to Nohamba, the two halfbacks, staying on the same page there. Just not quite able to get that off lit away there. Marius Loba, PJ Bota. Now with the line out throw. Now 5 metres out from the try line. Nalabakanye, they're going to use him as the freight train and the battering ram at the front of the rolling maul. Munster doing well to be able to defend this one. Now it comes out the back for Morne Vandenberg. Marius Lowe almost went through, returning recently from his yellow card, so he will be fresh. Now Delport. They're 5 metres out. Vandenberg again. Going across to Finta, the replacement 20. Flat run from PJ Bota. Great defence at the moment from this Munster side who are not budging. But eventually, the Lions have to be able to get through. Is it going to be this time with Nalabakanye? He crawls forward. It's just going to be short again for this Lions side, and the ball was unplayable, so they'll go back for the 5 metre scrum. Okay, you can't go in there any short, so it is now going to be the scrum feed for the Lions, and this is going to be a great chance to chuck Frankie Horn off the back of that scrum, try and get him close to the try line. Although if I was them, I would actually change. No, actually, never mind. I was going to say I'll put JC Pretorius at number 8 and have him break away, and I feel like it'd be very hard to stop. Well, Wellington, I'm here now. So here's the rugby. Welcome in, mate. 22 minutes remaining in this contest. The next game is just around the corner, ladies and gents. We're actually going to have to quickly change the scheduled time of that Stormers versus Leinster game, and not for the first time. We did have it scheduled for PM rather than AM. That is my bad, but now it's going to be 27 minutes away from the start of that one, just because we still have 22 minutes remaining in this contest. Stormers by 2, mark my words. How many minutes are we at now? We are at 58 minutes, 15 seconds. Crowd are absolutely loving the atmosphere here. So they're having plenty of fun watching this game in the stands. Stormers by 2 is a big call, bystander, but then saying that, I feel like they should be able to get themselves the win. Ollie Jaeger now making his way onto the field. He's got a mustache similar to Iaco Visahi. The Lions, they've got the scrum feed. Alabakanya in the front row. I think that JP Smith has made his way on. I'm just looking around for him. I've brought on that experience. What time the next game, bro? So the next game is going to be in 25 minutes time is when we are starting, but in 30 minutes time is when it kicks off between the Stormers and Leinsters. Will be interesting to see who starts for Ireland in the Box Summer Test at 10 and 14. Crowley versus Rossburn and Nash versus Hansen versus Lama. So yeah, rugby, yeah, they've got some decent quality players at the moment available in different positions. Where's my Sky Sport now on the Warriors? So here's Nars Williams and Crowley solid here last week and today. So here's rugby. And yeah, away from home, I feel like that definitely will give them a bit of confidence. The fact that he's in South Africa and putting on some great showings. I think that he's probably the guy who I'd go with at 10. Nash, so yeah, I don't think Nash has lit the world on fire. Jordan Lama, I think, looked decent for Leinster in the games that we've seen him play, but yeah, it'll be interesting to see who they go with. Stormers by 14, at least, I think. There's Clinton, the two front rows standing up too much there. Going to go back for another scrum reset. Feels like half this game has been played with scrums. And I don't think that's correct, but it does seem like we've had so many resets, so many minutes taken out of this game due to sides resetting their scrum and then winning the penalty. Pressure is on Hansen on his return from injury. And sorry, mate, off topic. Will you and your dad be doing State of Origin this year? We are hoping to. That is the plan anyway. So hopefully we will be able to do it again. I see the Munster fans smiling in the stands. The Irish fans will be smiling on 6th of July. And he's returning from the Munster game. There's a rugby there. And I was a travelling team. But on the day, just a shout by 2 points. Says by Stander. A ball put in by Morne Vandenberg. Scrum's ugly. It's going sideways again. No advantage, though, for either of these sides. Going to go back to Jordan Hendrickse. 9 metres from the line. That is very close for the Lions. And that's kind of summed up their day at the moment. Hopefully they can get over, but they've spent so much time just out from Munster's line and haven't been able to get that last little bit of meterage that they need to be able to get themselves that try. And close again. They are once again here short. Tried to go high for that one. As a walk in the park for Munster. There's a rugby there. Outside of the breakdown again. They get close. Once again, just half a metre short of the line. Going around the side of the breakdown for the replacement Fenta. Another crack. He's flattened out this time. And the score for PJ Bota. And the Lions get themselves on the try sheet for the first time of the day. Seems Munster have been defending very well. Yeah, their percentage has been about 90%, I believe, for their tackling throughout this game. Whether it's stormy air on Western Cape, says bystander. I actually heard someone say earlier on that there were a few thunderstorms heading around Cape Town. So I wonder whether or not the game between the Stormers and Leinster will actually be a little bit affected maybe by the rain. We're just seeing the replay here of PJ Bota. Does he score it? Yeah, I'd say that's down there. For PJ Bota, just gets the ball on the line. Now Jordan Hendrickse. Once again lining up this kick. Sitting 2 from 3 at the moment. Leinster C team will probably get smoked by the Stormers. Says Rugby. Theoretically they should. It's just very hard to tell. Are you covering that game? We are indeed. Even though my eyes are starting to get a little bit heavier. Trying to close a little bit, but we're keeping them open. We've got one more game remaining of our 6 in a row. And then we will be heading to bed. Well, no, we won't. We will be having breakfast. Heading to bed in about 5 hours' time. Maybe a little bit later. But after that, we're going to be sleeping real good. That is for sure. Now, getting ready to kick this one off here. Jack Crowley. Bouncing the ball a few times on the halfway line. Lombard is onto the field. That is for Jordan Hendrickse. And also Smith making his way onto the field. That is for Nore. Yes, likely though. You never know with Leinster. The Stormers should be too strong. Says Brian. Yeah, although the Stormers have probably been in their worst form throughout the season over the last maybe 3 or 4 weeks. So that is where this Leinster side need to really try and put them under pressure early and see if they can cause the Stormers to once again make a few more early mistakes. And again, both sides going up for the contested ball. Neither of them walking away with it, but in the end it sits on the side of Munster. Great turnover in the breakdown. I believe that's going to be JC Pretorius. Yes, it is. It's from his 7s days of getting over every breakdown he can. And wins the not releasing penalty for his side once more. So currently the Lions in a bit of a huddle here with their forward pack, trying to work out what that next tactic will be. Amber puts it into touch. Yeah, JC Just getting those hands on the ball, and as soon as he was on it, it's very hard to be able to go through. Do you ever feel like giving fake commentary during the game just to F with everyone? Not really. There was one game that we had to cover that the coverage cut out here in New Zealand, so I had to pretty much stall while the coverage was coming back. And everyone got really annoyed during that time because they were asking what's happening in the game, and I said, I honestly can't tell you because the coverage is cut out. So, like, I was just reading some of the stats and some commentary, like, in terms of some written commentary that I saw about the game and switching it up a little bit. But, yeah, there's been that time that was close to me just making it up as I went. Other than that, I just feel bad. I want to have fun and boo, looking for the skip pass, not humming, I don't want to take it cleanly. It's going to be going back for the knock-on at dedication. Says Rugby there. It'll be the scrum feed for Munster. 15 minutes remaining and still 15 points difference. I should actually refresh. There we go. Got the points on the board now for the Lions. It's knocked on by Tyburn, but first of all, it was knocked on by the Lions. And the resets. The knock-ons have just hurt them today. The Lions, a little bit similar to when Munster played the Bulls. I'm starting to wonder whether or not it's something to do with Munster. The fact that they are able to somehow force so many errors from the opposition side. So far, the Lions have had 6 throughout this contest. Munster themselves have had 5. What do you think of the Springboks versus Ireland Test Series later this year? I'm excited for it. It's a shame it's only 2 matches, just because I feel like if it finishes 1-1, there's going to be a lot of angry people because they want to see a result. They want to know who is the best out of those 2 teams. And with it being 1-1, they don't really get to experience that. Now, it could also end up being 2-0 for one of the sides, and in which case, it would be undisputed just at that stage, although I think they play each other again in November. Surprising Jaeger, Ahern and Coombs don't get a start for Munster. It just shows how strong their side is, though. When you have guys like that coming off a bench rather than starting, and your starting fellows can still put in just as much of a shift as those impact players coming off the reserves bench. Now, RG Snyman, I should say. It's the ball up again. Looks like Casey's going to roll this one back. 3 tries for Munster as they currently sit. They would love the 4th. Lions, if they can get themselves 2 forms of points, they'll be within the 7 more than likely, and that would give them the losing bonus point. But Marius Lowe now, looking for that next pass, goes on the inside of JC Pretorius, gets it to Vandenberg, look for the risky offload, and it's well taken by Mike Haley. Now Antoine Frisch, got a heavily strapped ankle. Went for the kick in behind, it's cleaned up by Lombard, who's hit late. Got to be close to a penalty advantage. Referee says play on. Here comes JP Smith. And the box been springing kids this year. Love it. Says bystander. And the advantage is now in favour of the Lions here. Nohamba. Going on the outside to Kronya. Knock on again. They go back for that late shot regarding the Bock Irish tour. It's strange. It's only 2 games. Should be the best of 3. Like the All Blacks tour in 2022, says Rugby. And they blamed it on international windows, and they said that if it was a 3-match series, then Portugal don't get to play the Springboks, I think is the other game. But at the end of the day, I don't want to sound bad for Portugal, but I feel like there would have been another side that they could have played, or they could have played it in late June, like we've seen for some of the other teams who are trying to fit in that extra game. There should have still been some sort of opportunity for a 3rd game. Yeah, a bit of a joke, mate, says Rugby. And Brock's providing bookies, or bockies, yeah. They go for them on a high deserved. Says bystander. Tell you what, this tiredness is hitting me hard. Not because of this game, though, I should mention, just because the eyes just want to close. I want to have a bit of a spell, but we've still got one more game around the corner between the Stormers and Leinster, and that game will certainly keep us wide awake. If it ends at 1-1, everyone will be cursing a lack of 3rd for a decider. Although November, the 2 sides do play off again, so I believe that would theoretically be the decider. It just wouldn't be a consistent decider in terms of sides still playing back-to-back-to-back in those weeks. Now it's 12 minutes remaining, off feet Box should have a team to play second tier teams. Exactly right. Like, I feel like we did see SA or South Africa A, didn't we? I think they played the Barbarians, or they played Georgia, or they played someone. Are they playing in November? Are you sure? I thought they were. Or is that just New Zealand? I know that New Zealand have a 2-match series up against up against England, and then they play them again in November. So maybe it's a bit different, because I know that in the November internationals, it's only one game that they do play against each side. I know the Box are 2 says Rugby. I think they are. I could be wrong there, though. JC Pretorius, good shot coming in. Yes, 2 games was a ridiculous idea, says Brian. Now the Lions back in possession again. Only 14 minutes away from the kickoff of the next contest, or in fact, I think it's 19 minutes. Come on, boys, the Box. Only need 2 games to prove they are number 1, says Clinton. Now on the halfway line, Lombard. The short side now. And for quite nicely, PJ Borta, the man who scored the lone try for the Lions in this contest. Munster being told to release. RG Snyman puts pressure on. It's gone backwards. No advantage in favour of the Lions here. Edward van der Merwe. Tackled by Jeremy Luckman. In fact, this time it was Ollie Yaker. Trying to decide what way to go with this ball here for the Lions. Now, white to JC Pretorius. Looks like Nico Stein has made his way onto the field. Ball bounces out the side. Well done from Tyke Byrne to get the turnover. Now Carberry goes on the outside to Mike Haley. And he's kicked it out on the full. Wasn't it awkward for Joe Smith tonight? Watching his beloved Blues versus Reds. As the Wallabies coach says Blues now. I mean, he's got a decent player pool to be able to select from for the Wallabies, it would seem, this year, which is awesome news. Hopefully the Bledisloe Cup is competitive. It's another competition that is only 2 games rather than the 3. Are we do a coverage review of Chasing the Sun 2? Probably not. I don't think. I feel like I probably don't have the knowledge of it, if that makes sense. Like, I'll probably watch it and I'll probably enjoy it, but I don't know whether I'm the one who should be able to say whether it's good or not, if that makes sense. Sport a Coffee Mate says bystander. I think Ireland will win one of them. Clinton. It will just be a frustration that there aren't 3 games. Says O'Brien there as well. Crowd loving the atmosphere, not only the Box, but all Tier 1 should play countries like Japan, Georgia, Portugal, Spain, Fiji, Samoa to grow the game in those countries. Yeah, it's all about getting them more games as well. Like you said, it will help grow the game in those places. It will help them stay in the international window loop. I agree. I think it will be 1-1. Says Rugby. And there as well. Now, nice running forward from the Lions. 9 minutes left. There's going to be another knock on there. This time coming from JP Smith. The lack of the 3rd game will be an outrage. That's a good kick in behind from Munster. Sits up for Nohamba. Close to his 22. Goes across to Richard Creel, who has to boot it downfield on the left boot, asking for the late tackle. Is not going to get it. And completely agree, says Brian. Kick downfield from Crowley. That one, has it gone into touch? Yes, it has. Nohamba has to take it quickly to try and keep this ball alive. He has fallen over as well. Seems like everyone for the Lions at the moment is trying to milk a penalty for being taken out after kicking the ball. Crowd are not going to be happy about it. Yes, interesting in the Bledisloe Cup for 23 years. Cobwebs. Says Blues, Nate. Ball is now loosed. Goes backwards for Munster. Crowley thought about the kick. Huge pressure on him, so the kick has actually travelled backwards. It's not too often you see that happen. Well cleaned up by Munster's replacement hooker. Now a big shot on Joey Carberry. Knocked on by Munster, even if they use A teams. Yeah, I agree. Like, South Africa A should be a thing. New Zealand A or New Zealand XV should be a thing. Australia A, we see them playing in some competitions. We actually saw them make up the numbers for the Pacific Nations Cup a couple of years ago. That should still be a thing. You know, even if it's the Island A, just get some international experience for players who are right on the cusp. But then will rugby go, no, you can't do that, because then that gives you an unfair advantage over the sides that don't have an A team. Issue out of the All Blacks World Cup team. We're missing this year for the November International versus Ireland. Sam Whitelock and who else? Cup team will be missing this year for the November International versus Ireland. I think they'll be missing quite a few of those guys because if they are... Oh, there's a bit of head-on-head from JP Smith and RG name and what's on the clock now. At the moment, one moment. We'll go like that. It is 73, I believe. At the moment is where we are sitting in the game. But, yeah, I don't think there's too many other guys. Sam Cane, I don't think will be playing in the November Internationals. I feel like by then he'll probably have another injury of some sort. So there's a head knock here for one of the Munster players. So Wickerley is going to have to make his way from the field. I'm sure he will be gutted about. Rugby is admired and respected in the lesser rugby nations would be great to see. Says bystander. And for sure says Brian there. Sorry, 72 minutes through rather than 73. And everyone thinks it's going to be 1-1 in the series against Ireland. I disagree. It's going to be 2-0 for the Springboks. Says Mornay Lagrange. Do you agree that it should be 3 matches though, Mornay, rather than just the 2? Are we doing the Leinster Stormers game after sees Anthony Walsh? We certainly are, starting in 8 minutes time, that live stream. And this game's only going to be ending in about 8 minutes as well. So it's going to be a very tight switch over. Probably won't get a chance to do too much in between the stream other than set up the next one. And then we will be straight back into the action. Sam Cane to man. Says Naz Williams. Ball's now going to be fed in for the Lions. We've got that ball available now. Humber slinging pass. It's got a lot better from the Lions in terms of when they finally get that ball moving. Richard Creel almost knocking it on. Marius Lowe now having to play halfback. Tries to go through the gap himself. But this Munster defence has just been, I want to say immaculate. But they've still had a few errors along the way. But it's been extremely impressive throughout the 72 minutes so far. Anyone watch Super Rugby Americas? Says 123 MS. I don't, only because I don't know where to find it here in New Zealand. I'm with Mornay Lagrange, what he said. Says Blues Nate. Going back across 5 phases in a row here. So looking like a Munster win without the bonus point. 100% prediction success. I did go for Leinster earlier in the week, but only if they put out an A team. That's going to be another penalty going the way of the Lions. Lions can still get themselves a bonus point here for being within 7. Deliberate knock on is the call there. And Sam and his dad Fozzie copped a lot of shush back then. Good, he's doing well, says Naz Williams. Yeah, I feel like, to be fair, like Sam Cane at times didn't have too bad of a performance in that international jersey. I think what hurt him was the fact that he got red carded in the Super Rugby final and he got red carded in the World Cup final. So in 2 of the biggest games that his team needed him the most were the 2 games that he got taken off the field early and left them with that big gap. But if he had played for full 80 minutes of both those games, who knows how it could have gone for him. And Hamish Bro says, Michelle, welcome in, mate. 6 minutes remaining at the moment on the clock for this contest between the 2 sides. Like I said, the next game that is taking place, it is happening between the Stormers and Leinster, and it is starting just around the corner. We are going to be watching that one eagerly to find out who gets themselves the win there. Now the Lions 10 metres out from the try line. ESPN says 123 MS. I agree, it should have been 3-match test against Ireland, but Portugal spoiled the party for the Springboks. Which is the Japanese league popular in New Zealand because all the stars are playing over there now. Little bit, but we don't really get that much coverage, unfortunately. Once again, it's only like maybe 1 game a weekend that they'll show here in New Zealand, whereas a couple of years ago they showed every game of the Japanese top league, so it's just Sky cutting down on the amount of licenses that they're willing to purchase. Nalabakanya gets very close to the try line now with only 5 minutes remaining. That has to be on the line. That is a try there. And the Lions will get themselves their 2nd of the contest. I think Ty Byrne wants to ask whether or not there was double movement. As my uncle and auntie, they are doing very well also. Currently sleeping, seeing as it is 5 a.m. here in New Zealand. I just want to check this one by the sounds of it, but I believe it will be the try here for the Lions. Okay, they want to check if it's one movement or he's propelled himself forward. Just checked your poll, 56%. For a Lions win, I'm surprised with that. I imagine Munster would be favourite. Says Brian, and that one. This is still one movement. Time is off again. I think that next game's going to be starting, and we're still going to be almost on this live stream. They are going to have a TMO check of this one. See whether or not it is the try. They just want to make sure, definitely with it being such a crucial part of this game. They check in potential double movement now. Adi Savia going to play for the All Blacks this year. I think he can in November, but not during July, I don't think. Or he might be recalled, actually. That one. I should get a buy me a coffee link on your streams. Says bystander. Probably a decent idea, to be fair. Although we do have the membership and the donations turned on YouTube, just because that's a little bit more convenient than having to go on to something different. But yeah, it's all good. I should still be awake by the end of the next contest. The decision. Oh, the player is short and then he propels himself forward. Now, that's extremely unlucky for the Lions because I actually thought that was close enough to being a try. The crowd are not happy about it. It's double movement from Ruan Fenta. The crowd cannot believe that call. I was surprised that Artie, with Artie as player of the year, says Rugby. Now 4 minutes remaining in this contest. TMO decision is no try. Because it was a second movement. I don't think the Lions have really argued it too much, but you can see that they are visibly upset with that call, as it did look like he was just kind of falling down to then cross that try line. Now 4 minutes remaining. Joey Carberry will be kicking this one towards the touchline. Now I should mention, as soon as this game is over, ladies and gentlemen, we are going over to our next stream, which is going to be the matchup between the Stormers and Leinster. So you certainly do not want to miss that contest. They're showing it again here. So they're saying he's down. Oh, I'll tell you what, you're allowed to move a little bit. I feel like that was pretty harsh. If all the stars of New Zealand Rugby are moving to Japan, I think in time you learn Japanese and move to Tokyo and set up shop over there. So as a Rugby, we have got the 3-month membership as well from Brian. Seems like the Lions deserve to try. I thought that they had it, to be honest, and it would have made the score 13 points to 28. Making it a bit closer for the final moments. Ball has been lost by Munster there, though. Now JP Smith tries to bump it back, and it's another knock on from the Lions here. Scrum feed for Munster. Like they've just said, not quite the day for the Lions in this matchup. They've been struggling. The Lions just can't do a trick. Yeah, it's just those little errors that they've had throughout this match have made it extremely difficult to find some form of momentum throughout this contest. I wish you would be big in Japan. Yeah, I don't know a word of Japanese other than konnichiwa. And I'm Brian, also gifted a membership. And so thank you very much, Brian. Greatly appreciated. To try and ration my water now. That Stormers versus Leinster game just around the corner. Another penalty goes the way of Munster. Now, we've got to remember, they're still chasing that bonus point as well in this contest. They do not want to leave this game with only the 4. If they can get the full 5, that is exactly what they are going to be looking at. This game running pretty long, though. I think this is going to be ticking over to a 2-hour game now. And we're a little bit late starting it, though, so I feel like that is possibly one of the excusable reasons that it is allowed. Now kicking this one towards the corner, go to Aroha and Love Brian. Says Naz Williams, and Brian thinks he's Santa Claus. It's Rugby. 100 seconds remaining out here giving away gifts. 15 penalties against Munster in this game. 7 against Lions, but still Munster are in the lead. 28 points to 13. And Japan moving to New Zealand to speak to Reo Mari. Says Blues Nate. Now last throw of the day, I would think, for Ewan Clark. All love, baby. Says a Rugby, great rolling ball here for Munster as they look to get over the line and secure their bonus point. They will get there, and that should just about be the game. Ladies and gentlemen, they should be able to use up the rest of the time on the clock by taking on this kick. But they will win it now 33, maybe 35 points to the 13. But it is scored by Gavin Coombs. Now, with that game being secured, ladies and gentlemen, we are quickly going to actually transfer over to that next stream, where I will let you know whether or not this kick goes over, because they still have enough time that they will look to close out the clock and then kick this one over. But I do thank you all very much for tuning in. We'll let you know the full-time score as soon as we go over to that next live stream. We will see you all in a very short moment. Stormers versus Leinster. Be sure to pop on over.